Sir George Parr, you are an educational specialist who advises the UK's Department of Education on matters of primary school children.
I am indeed.
So, to kick off, what is your expertise on this matter?
Well, I have a 6-year professorship in anti-racist electronic communication.
Anti-racist communication, you say?
I have a Twitter account and a blue check mark.
Ah.
My PhD was on feminist knitting.
Feminist knitting?
Yes, my thesis was on the structural toxic masculinity of wool and what this means for wider society.
I see. And your initial degree?
It was on the queering of dairy product.
The queering?
Yes, I created a meta-analysis which proved quite conclusively that yoghurt in particular represents a phallocentric anti-capitalist bulwark of the establishment.
Yoghurt?
Yes, dairy products are not alone. Bakery in particular is another area that is problematic.
Bakery?
Yes, it is a well-known fact, in educated circles at least, that racism can comprise a prejudice, plus flour.
I see. I assume florists are thus equally problematic.
Don't be ridiculous. This is a serious matter. I don't joke when it comes to education.
Of course not, nor would we expect you to do so.
So yes, I'm very well qualified in a wide field of matters appertaining to the education of primary school children. The government don't just hire anybody for advanced consultancies when it comes to the nation's children, I can assure you.
As I can well believe, I think. So what is the latest thinking in the Department of Education that you would like to share with us?
Well, we still have a lot of work to do. The first thing we need to tackle is the process of denazification of the department.
Denazi what?
Denazification. It must be done. This will first and foremost have to begin with the removal of the Secretary of State for Education and the Prime Minister.
But are they not your employers?
That's entirely beside the point. They're Conservatives. It's unacceptable. I will not allow the education of our children to be damaged by such fascist influences.
I see. Aside from that, are there any other measures that you propose?
Oh, what a question. I mean, where to begin? Well, first of all the teaching staff should be gay, transgender, or devout Muslim.
Gay? Sorry, isn't the latter a slight contradiction of the other two?
No, not at all. We're all for diversity at the Department of Education.
You just won't allow conservatives.
Well, there has to be some limit on what you're prepared to work with.
When you say you insist on exclusively gay and transgender teaching staff, is this by any means influenced by your personally identifying as a transgender, gay, lesbian, otherkin retired superhero? Do you think that in any way colours your views on education?
No, not at all. My colleagues and I are of course only guided by the science.
Are there, given your expertise on this issue, any other insights you wish to share with us?
Well, I would say that morning assembly should always begin with a flag-raising ceremony complete with the playing of the anthem.
Oh, really? That's very traditional. This is to build national unity, I presume.
What? You think I'm talking of the national flag? Oh, you poor soul. We're not fascists. No, I'm talking of the real flag, the only acceptable flag, which is, of course, the progressive pride flag.
Oh, you want that raised every morning by children? The rainbow flag?
No, not the rainbow flag. Not that racist, transphobic rag. No, I'm talking about the real pride flag. You know, the one, you know, the one that looks like, well, it looks a little bit like...
Like the Palestinian flag?
Well, if you put it like that, but it's a mere fleeting similarity, of course. But yes, it would teach children proper values.
And you mentioned the anthem.
Lady Gaga's Born This Way. Naturally.
I see.
In the long run, of course, we will need to get rid of schools.
Sorry, what? You will get rid of schools? But you're supposed to be in charge of improving schools.
Well, we have long been arguing that it's imperative to make education as diverse and inclusive as possible. We feel that it is best accomplished by defunding actual schools and leaving most of our children's education to inner-city gangs, which I think you'll find fit all our criteria for diversity.
But this will be a disaster.
Only to someone whose thinking is problematic. You are still bound by the limits of phallocentric thinking and have not yet understood future education as an intersectional multi-queered social construct.
I don't even know what that means.
Well, that's why I'm the expert.
Does everyone in education think your way?
More or less.
Meaning?
Well, they will all eventually come round to seeing it correctly.
And how is that to be accomplished?
primarily with executions.
Executions?
Yes, some will no doubt be sent for re-education in teacher seminars, but by and large we're just going to have to take them behind the bike sheds and put a bullet in the back of the head.
And how in God's name will you determine whom to shoot?
Oh, that would be a very carefully vetted process, of course. All proper procedures would be observed. I mean, we wouldn't just execute people willy-nilly. Or at least not, if we don't have to.
And just whom do you envisage killing off?
Well, mostly obstinate school head teachers who refuse to adapt to our new progressive teaching regime, but also any teachers where required and, if need be, some pupils.
Pupils?
Troublemakers. And of course any journalists who ask too many damn fool questions.
Sir George Parr, thank you very much for your time.
You're very welcome.